Okay, so hello everyone and a very good afternoon. We are elated to commence another captivating session on connecting the dots. First and foremost, we extend our gratitude to our esteemed speakers for their participation in this panel discussion. Ms. Gauri Das, Head HR at India Factoring and Finance Solutions Private Limited. Mr. Tejender Oberoi, Executive Director at Signet Infotech Private Limited and Chairman of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. Dr. Brilliant SK, EVP and Chief People Officer at Times Pro, and Mr. Setu Shah, Global HCM Product Strategy Director at Oracle. A warm welcome to all. AI, automation, and digital tools are reshaping work, making it more efficient and flexible. Remote and hybrid models are thriving, but workforce upskilling is crucial to keep pace. The future demands adaptability, digital literacy, and human AI collaboration to drive innovation and success. Our esteemed panelists will be sharing their views on this insightful topic, technological advancements and the future of work. HRAI welcomes you all to the session on connecting the dots. To know more about HRAI and its events, I would request all our participants to visit the link and details posted in the chat window. I now take the privilege to introduce our moderator for the session, Mr. Setu Shah, Global HCM Product Strategy Director at Oracle. Setu is an accomplished professional having three keen areas of interest: people-centric culture, artificial intelligence, and product management. His role of Global HCM Product Strategy Director at Oracle aligns with his passion for HR and flair for product management, helping drive digital HR transformation for enterprises. Outside of his day job, he mentors bootstrap and scaling startups and first generational students. You can also follow him on LinkedIn. The link for the same has been shared in the chat window. Now, without wasting much time, I hand over the platform to Setu. Over to you. You need to unmute yourself, Setu.
Awesome. Thanks. I'm audible now, right? Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, Faisal and HRAI for getting us all together and organizing this, and all our esteemed panelists and attendees for spending your time here. We're extremely excited to be your pilot for the day, and feel free to ask questions, have interactions in the chat room as we continue our conversation with our esteemed panelists. So the first panelist with us is Gauri Das. She is the SVP and HR head of India Factoring and Finance Solutions Private Limited. Gauri is an engineer turned HR professional with double masters in human resources and psychology. And that's an amazing combination, I must say, Gauri. I'll definitely ask you more about it. She is also an ICF certified coach, a well respected HR professional, two times TEDx speaker, founder of Lean in Circle Leaders, Lifting Leaders, and Navi Mumbai Circle. So that's WOM, majorly communities to support women authors, and overall she has won multiple awards. Economic Times Young HR Professional, HR 100 Under 40, Top 200 Global Voices in Leadership, and a lot more. So welcome, Gauri, and everyone. You all can follow her on LinkedIn and read more about her. The link is in the chat window. Welcome, Gauri.
Thank you, Setu.
Awesome. The next panelist with us is Tejinder Oberoi. He is the executive director of Signet Infotech and a chairman of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce Gujarat branch, with 34 years of rich experience in technology, business strategy, and global trade. At ThinkTech Infotech, has been instrumental in driving digital transformation, innovation, and expanding the company's global presence by delivering cutting edge technology solutions. As the chairman of Indo American Chamber of Commerce, he actively fosters bilateral trade and collaboration between India and United States, strengthening economic and business ties. Welcome, Jinder ji.
Thank you, Setu. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Amazing. The third one with the third panelist with us is Dr. Brilliant SK. He is the EVP and Chief People Officer at Times Pro. He champions a performance-driven culture, prioritizing learning-centric approaches in every operational and quality improvement initiative. With a strategic focus on talent development, he builds strong, capable teams to support the expanding business landscape. He is a Gallup's certified strengths coach and Marshall Global Smith certified executive leader coach. He has been conferred with top 10 global influential CXOs award in 2024. Late congratulations on that one, Brilliant. And just to let people know, I think apart from all of these professional accomplishments, he does run very interesting podcasts and channels on YouTube. Welcome, Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. So with that, we begin our session for today. Technology advancements and future of work. Imagine this in early 90s. A young intern walks into the office eager to learn and eager to rock the world, only to be handed with a thick stack of paper and being given a task saying that go sort this out or go make photocopies of this, right? Fast forward to today, this is a time when an AI algorithm can do most of these tasks, and as it is so with most of our HR professionals, they would give him a long list of fabulously personalized and engaging onboarding tasks. They could also be connecting and interacting with their leaders on in metaverse or in virtual world. So things have changed a lot. Technology has always reshaped work, be it from the industrial revolution to the rise of internet. But today, the pace is absolutely unprecedented with AI, automation, digital tools, generative AI, and aren't these changing how we work and they are redefining what work means to us? So the question is no longer, will technology change my job? But it's rather, how can we adapt and thrive alongside it? So with this, I'll have the first question for all the panelists. And the question is, what are the biggest HR technology trends or changes that you all have observed in your industries? I'll start off in the same order. Gauri, would you want to take a first dig at it?
Yeah, sure. So, as you reminded us of decades ago, I'm also thinking of what we used to do in the beginning. So, I started my career with leave and attendance management. And fast forward today, not even a management trainee is going to do it. So, yes, a lot of things which were repetitive in nature to a large extent, technology has taken over. We have reached to the level of AR, VR also. But I think in HR, the human touch remains the most important thing. And yes, so many new things have come up, so many technology trends have come up. But I continue to believe that it's about that connect. Because if we have a challenge, say if we have a challenge with Amazon and they put us on a bot, we feel even more frustrated. Just like that, if there's a grievance which is not solved at first level, with the questions or with the gamification that we have done. So gamification is another trend. If that is not resolved, I think we as HR professionals must be there to support the employee, the team member. So yes, a lot of technology trends, but I continue to believe in human connect.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks a lot, Gauri. So definitely human touch does not go away. In fact, we technology possibly helps us free up more of our time to increase our human touch. Tejinder ji, your take on it. What are the biggest HR technology trends or changes that you have observed in your industry or any of the allied industries?
We'll see, I come from maybe an era before all of you started. So I can possibly look at handwritten registers to digitization and now AI. So I've seen all the three trends. What we see is far smarter resumes coming thanks to ChatGPT, which is making it a real tough time to maneuver. But at the same time, we're also seeing AI-driven tools to select or screen candidates. So that's helping out on the other side. But again, because people are using the same tools to create those resumes, I think the fight still remains. We see that we have introduced chatbots for employees to converse with the systems and remove the human face. It is like actually feeling like when you are looking for the customer care number on an Amazon website and you realize that only chatbots respond and you don't know what to do. So while on one side it looks good, but where you get stuck, you really don't know where to go with these chatbots. So we are still evolving on chatbots. We also have a situation wherein hiring is moving from a resume based or degree based method to skill based. And companies are working to take tests, ask people to go through a drive and possibly elect their freshers based on hackathons and stuff. So that's another trend that is actually getting implemented fast. We're seeing people hiring the smartest guy getting away, even if he doesn't have the right scores in his degree.
Yes.
So that's another trend that is picking up quite fast. Of course, digitization of standard processes and other tools. I think all of us are working on that process improvement skills and all that is continuing. But trends, I think trends are coming in too fast and you're virtually getting into a scenario like creating tools or you have interviewers which are Alexa based or so we've seen we our company itself had created a tool, but we realized that people are not willing to give an interview to an Alexa. So that's possibly also the coming in trend. So you may actually be interviewed by a Alexa and your report may get published and sent. So you can do 100 interviews single-handedly by putting up a skill set. So some thought processes to start discussing.
Lovely, lovely. I think you shared a lot of pointers and trends on talent acquisition specifically. So I think that's fabulous. Brilliant. Any thoughts? Any disruptive HR technology trends or changes that you have observed in industries around you?
Yeah, the challenge of being the third speaker is almost everything is taken up. But I would like to say, good old days, TikTok used to mean a reference to a clock. But today, when we talk of TikTok, it's an app. Gone are the days of copy paste. TPS just mentioned how AI is helping create and
Yes.
curate resumes, which is so-called ATS friendly, right? It gives you a score saying that your resume is 75% ATS ready, which means it's becoming tougher for HR professionals to actually get into a mode of analyzing कि यार ये सच में fit है या नहीं. Sadly, the concept because of social media is JDWB, जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. Good old days, we used to have spokespeople from the organization who would be representatives, that they are the only ones. But today, every single, I don't want to call it as employee because anyone associated with the company becomes a brand ambassador by default. One small slip and it's on social media and you put all your efforts trying to solve it. So I think today the bigger challenge that we as human resource professionals face more than the challenge of attendance management, payroll management is try to ensure that from a logistics perspective, how do we ensure that the goodwill and the image of the company is maintained? The reputation makes a big difference today. Thanks to social media, people look you up before they come for the interview. And they try to strike a chord by saying, you know what, Are, I met you at this conference, you were speaking on this. And that sets the tone off. So The impact is visible, the impact is deep, and I would say the impact is here to stay. Just like 1st December, 1st November, it was my birthday, November 2023, ChatGPT came and disrupted the world. January 20th, you know what happened. DeepSeek came in and said bye bye ChatGPT. So it's a constantly changing world. It's highly dynamic. And as HR professionals, I think it's not okay for us to rest on our past laurels. We need to be on our toes. We need to be one step closer. I would not say ahead, because we can never be ahead of technology. We can be one step closer to what the
Yes.
competition is. That's my sense.
Thanks, brilliant. I loved some of the perspectives that you brought in, that the business as usual for HR professionals is going to be think about the next initiative, the next technology adoption that they would want to do to create a business impact, and not just to gamify the system, or to trick the employees or candidates, but to meaningfully connect and interact as well. With
Stacey,
some
I would
feed.
like to add a point
Yes,
here.
please.
And brilliantly reminded me of this. So I heard this from a friend. I'm from banking industry, so the systems are very, very secured. You can't even send an email outside. Even LinkedIn
Yeah.
is not allowed in your system. But I heard this from someone who's not from so regulated industry, and she mentioned that in her industry or in her organization this year, she saw that people did their self-evaluation through ChatGPT. So if someone was to write that this was my KRA and against this is what I have achieved, the language was like, this is what this profile does. So it's not possible for HR professionals to have a look at each and every comment that has gone into the review form.
Yeah.
But yes, technology helps and you can pick up and you can talk about it. So just like Brilliant mentioned, that we need to be ready. So maybe we need to be super ready with countering these challenges which people are throwing on us. Because the appraiser most of the times would not go into the numerics and numbers and all. Many a times it would still be on how things have been recently and other biases. So yes, biases and such kind of things also technology can help us remove, and we can have a better system.
Thanks a lot for bringing that up, Gauri. I remembered myself that at times a nightmare for most of the managers is to recollect, whatever happened during the year, and thereafter, to be in a meeting with your reportee saying that, this is what you have done, and the reportee comes up with a bigger list, right? So this is another place where technology could help in terms of being a reminder, could collate a lot of feedback, and at the same time create an even team level or an organizational level review. So absolutely agreed. I think one feedback that I've received, and I'm going to correct it right away, is doing a round robin and ensuring that Brilliant does not stay the last speaker. So Brilliant, we'll start with you now. The rise of remote work and hybrid models enabled by digital tools is changing how teams collaborate, right? And this is where I think not just MS Teams or Zoom, but we have everything in play. Could you share three examples of how technology has changed workforce and their expectations in your experience?
So from a larger perspective, if I were to look at it, the concept of Dil Mange More, right? Office peacocking, we all heard of it. The more is back in the office. Everyone wants people to be physically present. But I personally believe that the focus has to be on increased flexibility, especially in teams like technology, marketing, products. With the technological tools, it's very easy to engage today. Imagine all of us being in a physical seminar versus today we are in a virtual world, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, and I don't know which other locations people have joined in from. One aspect that we need to understand is gone are the days where people could demand and say that it's only office working. Yes, certain jobs will require that, but most of the jobs which are in the knowledge sector will want to be looking at increased flexibility. That means that there is a real time need for collaboration. I remember in the good old days when I would change jobs, my mom would ask me a simple question, PF hai kya? But I would say the generation today is no longer thinking about benefits ka, PF ka, gratuity ka, sabka hisab lega re tera Faisal. They are very clear. मेरे हाथ में क्या आएगा? What is it that I can expect? They expect flexibility. They expect more money in hand. And today there are many members in the generations that we work with where for them it's not about loyalty or stability. It's about wanting to do what they want. And that change impacts HR from a deeper perspective. I see a bigger challenge today, Setu, to be honest. If I, for example, today operate three modes, one is a full remote, a hybrid mode, and an in-office mode. Let's say there are three people in the same team operating in these three modes, and I have 10,000 to be given to each employee. Is it really fair? Because the other person will come back and say, I have an hardship to reach office. The other person will say, मेरे घर पे Wi-Fi का issue है, I need a broadband. And the hybrid person will say, I have to manage someone because घर पे कोई नहीं. So how do I ensure that the value that I give for each of these are linked to the kind of work situation that they are in? Which means the need for being what I would say cognizant of work life and Instagram balance today is very important, right? We see people shooting reels and posting even during office hours. If we were in the good old era, we would have been really disciplined for saying कि यार office time पे तुम ये क्या कर रहे हो? But things have changed. We need to start thinking about how do we build in meaningful interventions. And it's not just about antakshari and virtual lunches. It's very difficult. I'm facing a challenge today. But in the immediate term, if I were to look at it, I would have loved to say entertainment, entertainment, entertainment. But realistically, it is skilling, reskilling, and upskilling, right? Focus on DPI, which is being a digital native. Everyone says that I have adopted digital, but it doesn't help. You need to be a digital native today. If you need to succeed, full stop. That's the only way you can go forward. The changes in technology is impacting the way HR is functioning so much that unless we are digital natives, we will be taken for granted. The challenge with the remote, hybrid, and in-person working is how do I manage productivity? Right? For an organization like ours, it's sales driven, but still there are other teams which need to contribute and build. But how do I move beyond tools? There are so many tools available. You do one Google search, it will throw you 1,000 list of number of tools available. But these tools are no good till the managers or the people who are making decisions can really utilize them to ensure it is aligned to the growth of the company or towards building a new process. Right? Engagement is the biggest challenge for me today. I mean, I'm very candid when I say this. I don't see how I can be inclusive when I'm talking of online, hybrid, and office staff coming together. Today is Holi. We are celebrating Holi. I don't know. I mean, I'm out of my mind to think about how do I make the people who are virtual to be a part of it. So I think it's good, but at the same time, it's not enough for us to stay here. It's like moving beyond the treadmill. We need to start running marathons. That's when we realize that each mile you cross is a newer challenge, and the closer you get to the finish, you realize that it's not finished yet. There's a new marathon coming. That's my submission.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks a lot. More as a people manager than as an HR, I would say give that 10,000 to all three of them. Okay. But coming back to our topic, I mean, I absolutely agree that workforce productivity, engagement, and at the same time creating an impact, as you mentioned, at work or for work, is getting extremely challenging. And with that, I move on to Mr. Tejinder ji. So data analytics and machine learning are enhancing decision making. They're improving efficiency and at times even predicting workforce trends. Uh, if you could share any three examples of how technology has changed the workplace in your experience, we all would be enlightened.
See, well, you mentioned the topics of data, like you have data and therefore you can do analytics. Earlier, our ability to capture data and bring it on a table was tricky. Now you have login data, you have in-out data, you have work data, and you have a lot of measurement analytics, which we have incorporated, which is giving us a lot of analytics. You have, and the ability to scale and bring out relevant information out of the data is growing very fast. We're able to predict, okay, this is our attrition rate, this is our hiring rates, these are the productivity rates. So earlier, by the time this data was made available, the chances of the data having lost its relevance and becoming like a post-mortem activity was higher. Today, you get real-time data, and therefore your ability to work on data analytics is better. See, there is one major gap in what we're trying to do as HR. And if I look from an entrepreneurial side, what an entrepreneur is expecting, I'm not talking about the 70-hour week story.
Yeah.
See, we now have full-time workers, we have gig workers, we have contract workers, we have part-time workers, and all those workforces are coming on board.
Yes.
Now, what are we expecting from them? Are we expecting them to log in clocks? We're not. There are certain outcomes that we are expecting, and most of us are playing for outcomes. As long as we continue to measure physical work, we would possibly be doing injustice with our work as well as the outcomes of those works. If a sales guy is able to make one call and get his results, why do you want somebody to make 6 calls a day? And there could be a guy who does 6 calls a day and his performance is very different. So there has to be a method of evaluation wherein we can measure outcomes that we are expecting from people for the organization and plan our manpower and measurement activities, including data analytics, including our hiring accordingly.
Correct.
I see most of the time, even in my organization, that we are measuring time hours.
Yeah.
But none of us is saying कि भाई ये परसों चाहिए ये activity complete करो. We get a timesheet in return. We don't get the task in return.
Yes.
No, we measure the timesheet. We reward that this guy spent 220 hours, and we fail to reward another guy who did that job in 120 hours, the same job.
Yeah.
So how do we bring in our intelligence or artificial intelligence or technology to possibly measure tasks? Like there are industries which have a very clear model that, let's say, when we look at some industries which do not have a formal method of working.
Yes.
So they have gone on a unit based. Let's say you look at somebody making handicrafts. So somebody comes and gives them 100 pieces and says, we will pay you 5 rupees a piece. You do 6 pieces, you get 30 rupees. You do 600 pieces, you get 3,000 rupees. Now, somewhere down the line, we are seeing when we are looking at a gig workforce or a contract workforce, the need to shift to measurements which are outcome based and do our analytics on outcome is becoming all the more important. Time in, time out, and then having supervisors, because there is no way to supervise these people.
Agreed.
We have, whether I want all my team to be around me or not, time has gone. My team will not be around me. My team will be spread across the city, across the country, available. If he says, sir, I am going home for 7 days, but I'll be working, I cannot question him why I will not accept that as a term. Whereas I also know that his productivity could drop, but I could ask him, I need these tasks to be completed and I need that measurement analytics. So technology, I think there is a clear gap between post-mortem activities and forward-looking activities that we need to do. A lot of activities are either to keep the group together or are records being created for performance or assessment. Appraisals should basically be about finding out what are the potentials of these candidates and where we can take him further. For the past, you've already paid him. That's end. You need to possibly decide where you want to do, where your future with him lies, rather than digging old graves.
Interesting perspective, Tejinder. Thanks a lot. So definitely, I think, from a workplace perspective, things, a lot of different operating models have been coined and are currently already there. I come to Gauri with my next question. Gauri, with so many changes, what would you reckon the role of HR and leadership in an organization is in terms of shaping the future of work, especially during these high flux times? And what how would HR teams spawn or execute such initiatives?
Yeah, I think technology has given us a lot of extra time by taking away operational things. It has given us a lot of insights by data analytics. So there is a lot of bandwidth for us to do other things. So I think first thing would be to have a different mindset, because even today we see people who would not want to use an app to book their travel. They still
Yes.
want that paper to be signed and given to admin and get things done, right? And we still
Yes.
have that. And we are also running with fourth generation. Very soon we will have alphas also in workforce. So first thing is to have a mindset that I need to change. I need to have a digital mindset. Once we have that, then we will be looking at what other changes or what better roles we can play as a leader. But yes, if we have to look at things from this perspective, I would say one would be the business acumen, which HR definitely needs to understand how many of us can read a balance sheet, how many of us know where is money coming from, where is money
Yes.
going, who are top 10 customers, what are they looking at, how many of us are involved in designing the customer feedback form, taking it back and checking it out whether it is aligned with our L&D strategy or not. So that is one of the things, and it is for many roles. It's not only for HR, for many leaders also. Now, what as leaders we need to do is change management. Like all of us spoke about it before, that so many things have changed when we
Yes.
joined workforce, and what we are expecting from people and what they are doing. Like Brilliant cited a brilliant example that if somebody had to post a reel in office, you would mind it, or he said that if somebody is wanting to work from home, I cannot say no. So things have changed, and that change management is our role today, because anything and everything that has to start from leaders. Culture is always top down, and we have to create a culture which is driven by values, which is driven by purpose. So far we did not have time to understand these things. We did not have inclination for it, we did not have technology for it, but now is time that we really play our own role, which is developing a purpose driven organization and making everybody, helping everybody understand it also. Because so
Yes.
far when I was doing, and I remember this, I'll bring out this small incident, that when I was doing leave and attendance management, I used to feel very powerful in last 1 week of the month, because everybody would come to me and they will say, भाई कुछ गड़बड़ ना हो जाए, मेरी salary का problem ना हो जाए. But after that, I used to feel, what do I do in the organization? Am I really required? If somebody just gets the data and I have to calculate it, and I did an engineering and then I came to HR, and I was like, ये कर रही हूँ मैं. So many employees still feel that, because they do not understand the purpose of each and every activity they are doing. So it's our role to help them understand. It's our role to create that culture. And yes, technology will help for all of this. But if I have to say top three in terms of what leaders or HR need to do, is to first have a digital mindset. Second is to have business acumen, understand each and every aspect of business. Go out, visit. Now you have time to do that. I worked in FMCG, and there it's a norm that even HR will go out and market, but for many other industries, it is not there, yet not there. So you do that. And the third thing is to bring out purpose in everything that you do. So those would be my 2 cents on this.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks a lot for that, Gauri. So have a digital mindset, have a business acumen, and seek purpose in whatever you do. And I think with this, what would transpire is that a lot of traditional job roles, would slightly be tweaked. They will change. And I come to Brilliant with my next question on this one. So AI and automation, and as I think Gauri mentioned as well, lots of changes in terms of expectations are redefining job roles, making some of these tasks obsolete while creating new opportunities. And as an organization working and thriving in extremely robust markets today, or extremely uh, changing markets today, how would we seek or empower our teams or our folks to tap into those opportunities? If you could share any examples on how technology has changed the work in your experience.
Sure. I just want to bring in what TPS mentioned, the gap about what HR wants and the entrepreneur. And this entrepreneur can also be professional leaders. And he said something very beautiful, that we need to start thinking differently. So most of the time we get caught, and Gauri was saying कि मेरी जरूरत है क्या? There is always a conundrum when it comes in people, policy, क्या choose करूं? And that's where I bring in what Gauri mentioned. The purpose is most important. If you're aware of the purpose, you know where to lean on. There's this joke about a tiger coming into a corporate office and seeing that there are hundreds of people. He first eats the senior most person, then he eats the project manager. No one notices. And it continues till one day when he catches the chai wala, right? And that's when everyone says, Arey, chai wala kahan gaya? So we need to understand, what is it that drives the organization? What is it that will drive? What is the tiger and who's the chai wala? And I would bring back the basic concept. Soch badlo, desh badlega. We need to start thinking beyond what we are doing. Unfortunately, like all of us said, we are transactional in nature, hardcore transaction. And that's the challenge. And this is where AI technology changes will help, and it has helped us in a lot of things. Automation of the base things that we said. TPS mentioned about recruitment, right? That's one of the key areas. But beyond that, data validation. Gone are the days where I had to work on multiple Excel sheets with VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, this formula, that formula, and then struggle to realize that the Excel sheet has hung, right? Those days are gone. So today you have a dashboard that can be created. It will, I would say, analyze and give you some sense of what are the areas that you should be looking at. Today we have automated dialer system. I don't know how many of you get a call at 7:59, which is the cutoff time in the evening, saying, hello, this is about college MBA. It's an automated system, a voice which is human in nature. That's the level of automation that is set in. If you have ever used any learning management system, including LinkedIn Learning, if you do, you get those nudges. You completed so many hours today. And then if you don't log in for 2 days, it gives you a nudge saying, hey, you know what? You just have 2 more hours today and you will reach your daily goal. Upar wala sab dekhta hai. It means everything is in the cloud. Everything that you do today is there. So it is not required for any human being to monitor and post. This in turn helps decision making. TP has also mentioned, Gauri also said this. It's a no-brainer. Everything can be optimized without bias, right? Today, when I am analyzing, there could be a sense of bias that comes in. And again, I'm not factoring the fact that AI itself is created by humans who would have had bias, but we'll leave that aside for a while. But it helps in reducing biases and analyze data for what it is to be analyzed for. The workforce today has to start thinking about new ways. Deep fakes are real, right? I'm sure you would have seen those videos which come in, which makes you believe, oh wow, ye aise ho gaya. And it reminds me of Amitabh Bachchan in Chupke Chupke, who said, जो है वो नहीं है और जो नहीं है वो कैसे हो सकता है. We need to start thinking on that mode and say, this is where I should be. Interestingly, in the last week of February, we held a hackathon for our internal team, and we had about 14 teams competing. We had three fantastic ideas that came up on how AI can help, and I would like to share one or two of those with you. One is the interview and selection tool, which is you give them the JD, it will create an automated questionnaire, by searching through the learnings that it has on the job role that has been given. It will create questionnaires, it will create a video interview tool. A person can come in, give the interview, the tool will analyze and tell you what are the areas that the candidate has been good at, what are the areas that the candidate needs improvement on, where are the areas where the candidate may have cheated, right? Gone are the days of chits. Today you have someone in the background or there is a large screen available. Now these are beautiful elements which take away most of the time today for a recruiter or an HR professional. If I'm able to use and leverage AI for those, my life is sorted. Today, when we get to hire freshers, we get loads of applications. And it's really sad, right? You just take about 30 seconds and reject candidates. That's not fair. So what we did is we created a dynamic system which is on assessments, right from sales, communication. Now this again helps reduce the bias. I don't like the person. I don't like the person is coming from XYZ college. All of these gets removed. And that's the beauty of it. What I am looking at for the future is probably an ecosystem where onboarding and enduring engagement can be looked at from AI. We have
Got it.
talking videos where we can give a script to it. It could be my face. I don't have time to come and talk to people for whatever reasons. I can
Yes.
just script it out, give it to the tool. It can create a beautiful video which can be shared with potential candidates, new joiners, existing staff, enhance engagement real time and not wait for town halls or in-person sessions. So I think
Got it.
it's a balance that we need to create.
Thanks a lot. I think loved some of the examples that you cited as well. Coming to Gauri, from restructuring work to upskilling to engaging them, HR has had a huge role in this fast-paced transformation exercise. How organizations integrate technology while maintaining that, human-centric touch or leadership that you mentioned in terms of decision making to elevate engagement. So the question is that, how what kind of opportunities the technology uncovers to elevate employee engagement?
Yeah, it uncovers a lot. One, we have extensively discussed that we now don't do operational work anymore. Yes, exceptional handling is our task, which we are doing, but there is a lot of respite from that, and you can do more meaningful work. So engagement becomes one of the most important priority, because at some point of time, the only definition of engagement was Rangoli or events, though they have their own value. Even today, they bring people together, but now we understand engagement is right from when you decide about a JD till forever, because you never break that bridge, you never break that relationship which an employee has. We used to say hire and exit cycle, but now there is no exit cycle. Having a continued relationship is the key. So that is point number one. Point number two, data driven decision making has also given us a very important tool in terms of what more we can do. Having a button, just like we do in many organizations in malls, most of us would have seen, whether you liked it or not. There can be a day-to-day data, there can be a tracker where you can get to know what exactly is the challenge. When it comes to learning and development, customized solutioning, the way you want to learn, and so many things. Say, for example, you learned a skill and you have a system wherein whenever there is an internal job opening, you get to know, okay, these skills are there and these many people are having these skills. So we have this particular skill in system. It can be matched at any point of time. So overall, in employees' life cycle, so many things can be changed with help of technology. I think at each and every stage, be it performance management system, wherein you can have OKRs, you can track them, you can have better, like you said in the beginning, that they can collate everything that has been done, and there is a system to do it. I think there is no area where we can not bring in more quality in our life and bring in more engagement, because each and every experience that we have with our manager, with our peers, with our team members gives the right example. And yes, not to forget the well-being part of it. Because of these technological interventions, only it is possible to operate from anywhere. It is possible to just do things and not count hours. because we have that digital mindset as well, along with the data which helps us in all of this. So I think from an employee perspective and from an engagement perspective, I would summarize by saying that each and every touch point for employee
Got it.
has been enhanced to a certain extent, and it can be done in much better way. We just need to ask the right questions to machines. They have all the answers, but questioning should be right. So we need to learn the art of asking the questions.
Lovely, lovely. I think I love that. Ask the right questions, touch and revisit every touch point or interaction that is being done. And at the same time, how can you make it not just personalized but hyper personalized? Uh, Aligning to I think what Brilliant said as well, that everything is being tracked, or at least you get to know the persona or the person a lot more, and that's where you can personalize. To an extremely lowest level uh, to engage the person or employee a lot more. Tejinder ji, my next question goes to you. Now, we all understand that there needs to be a great balance between human-centric leadership, which is more intuition-driven at times, and as most of the organizations today are investing a lot of time, effort, and energy in getting the right data, ensuring that the lineage is right, ensuring that the insights coming out of that is amazing. So the second aspect of that is decision making. So how does organization integrate technology while at the same time creating a balance between human-centric leadership, which is intuition-driven, and data-driven decision making? Sorry for the loaded question.
Uh, I think it's a relevant question that you are able to do decision making based on the data that you've collected. Honestly speaking, the amount of data we collect and the amount of data we actually use for decision making, there is a major gap. Most of the time is spent in data collection, whereas we do not really know where we are going to use that data or how we are using the data. I think the best use of data, if someone wants to learn how to use data, is from e-com companies, wherein they use it extensively for marketing. Of course, they overdo it at times, but or even for banking for that matter, wherein you give them one data and you suddenly find so many people following you on that data. So our challenge is that we are collecting data without, in many cases, without really having a vision of what we want to do with that data or where we want to drive that information. So like we're collecting data on performance management, we are collecting data on timesheets. In an IT company, the perspective of timesheets is billing. It is not work or outputs. So because you're billing a customer on timesheets, so you're basically collecting data on timesheets. You're collecting data on other measurable parameters like customer success or customer service or the time taken to revert to a customer. You're able to collect that data and you're able to evaluate how to speed up those processes. Like currently I'm working with my team to ensure that whatever inquiries we get, we are able to revert faster and create a system wherein we are able to pull in everybody without really getting their time assigned to it. So at least there is a level of supervision also available and we're able to turn around faster for our customers. So I think tools will manage the data, and the situation is coming wherein we'll have to go to tools. Okay, I have this data. What can I do with this data, or what are the productivity parameters we want to drive using that data? So when you have intelligent tools, you're actually getting into that scenario wherein you ask the tool itself कि भाई चलो अब ये data है, इसका क्या करना है? So that's a tricky thing. There are no straight answers to this question.
Okay.
When we are tracking data, but like getting verified data and being able to, like, it's like this, that you suddenly, I'll take an example of e-com because again, more easier to relate. Let's say you look at a data of somebody browsing a page and then you try to dump certain ads on him with the same, for the same information. Now it is spontaneous. The guy may have completed his purchase, or guy may just have sought that data at a specific time, but we keep dragging that data for months together, trying to push something else to him. So where utilizing that data, we have to possibly look at data. There is a group data analytics that is one piece, and there is an individual data analytics that has to come at a different level. Somewhere down the line, we need to segregate individual capabilities. If you're handling a person, specifically in an HR, you are not wanting, you're again managing human resource. So the idea is that every individual is different and you're looking at a different output. But if you work on a large data parcel and try to mechanize or machine them, I think we will be again making a mistake, which we are anyway making. All of us are making. I'm not outside that mistake cycle. So I think we need to do sentimental analysis individually using data techniques. We need to attach them to capability metrics. And we need to possibly evolve individual career goals or individual career paths, which align with the organization organization goals.
Correct.
Because each individual has his own organization goals, own goals. How are we able to align them with the organizational goals? If we can use data to arrive at those kinds of metrics, I think we'll be evolving a far more human organization.
Thank you. Thank you. I think I love the point that you ended up with in terms of linking personal goals to business or organizational goals and ensuring that the circle of purpose is completed.
Because see, an organization comes with a very different purpose. An individual comes with a purpose of earning a living. An organization comes with a purpose of probably creating something larger. And they're divided on their two goals. If we can align them using the sentimental analysis and equip them in the right location and use the data to arrive to those goals, I think we would have done a great justice to individuals and the organization both.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. Thanks a lot, all of y'all, for your perspectives. Really appreciate that. And I think with such accomplished dignitaries on the panel, I think we should learn a little more from them. And that's where I would want all three of you all to answer this possibly in 1 or 2 sentences only. So what is one life lesson that you wish you would have or could have learned earlier in your life? I'll start with Gauri.
Yeah, self-leadership would be my lesson. I used to think my manager is responsible, I am HR, but my senior is responsible. But now I know that it's self-leadership and it comes from self-awareness. Once we know ourselves, accepting ourselves, and then self-development. So that's the mantra, self-leadership.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Self-leadership is one. Brilliant. Your take?
Thank you. And I stated it earlier. If I had learned earlier about when there is a call to be taken on people or policy and process, think about the purpose. If we started with the purpose in mind as the first thing, then all of it would have fallen in track and probably we would have been in a different place. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Tejinder ji, your take on it? Any one life lesson that you wish you had learned earlier in life?
I think life is a game wherein you are entitled to make your own mistakes in each game. So probably like all of us want to go back, but I think it is all about going forward.
Yes.
And I would be happy to make my mistakes again and catch up with them and redo them. I really don't feel that going and undoing and redoing is required. It's a learning phase, like certain things that Gauri mentioned. So there's a maturity with age which comes. So possibly we are rash. It's like this, that at an age where I was a rash driver, today I probably may become a sensible driver. My son will become a rash driver. So that's a cycle, and I would accept that cycle very, very happily,
Awesome.
rather than
So,
trying to fix. I have to accept my past.
got it. Got it.
Or
So
you
I
I have
could
think
to
become
accept
an
my
ambulance
past.
driver. They require
Okay,
rash
so
driving.
sorry.
So
Go on,
I
go
think
on.
it's very important to accept that you made a mistake
yes.
and accept and make peace with it and move on.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. That's a great learning, I'm sure, for all of us on as an audience as well, to have higher acceptance. Sorry, Gauri, you were saying something.
Yeah, I was asking what has been your one learning?
My one learning. So I feel that I should have started reading a lot earlier in my life. I am a voracious reader now.
Okay.
Since the last few years, I genuinely felt that these books I should have read earlier in my life. That would not have got me that much of knowledge, but my horizons would have broadened a lot more.
And how did you convert from a non-reader to voracious reader?
So I had a nice progression to it. I didn't jump into it, but I had a nice progression where I started off reading those short stories which were like 1 or 2 pages. I moved into reading some comics. Okay,
Picture.
and then yeah, pictures. Yes, and that was at the after the age of 30, by the way. Okay,
Okay.
You don't
so
look 30.
feel free to laugh at me. I'm okay. And
Sure.
I moved on to novels which were generally fiction. And over the last 4 5 years, I try to strike a balance between fiction and non-fiction both.
This
I
will be
was
very
expecting
helpful
you
for
to
people.
say, no,
Yes, brilliant.
I was expecting you to say, शादी के बाद books पढ़ने शुरू कर.
But if you read a book at different stages, same book at different stages of life, it opens a
Different learning.
different perspective to
Absolutely
reading.
agreed.
So
Absolutely agreed.
there's never a right or a wrong time for doing things.
Absolutely agreed that. All right. I think we have a couple of questions on our in our chat from the audience. But prior to that, I'm loving the conversation, and we do have a few more minutes. So just in one liner, if you all can share, what is one failure for you all that has turned into a hidden blessing? I'll start with Tejinder ji. One failure that has turned into a hidden blessing.
Well, I gave up my professional career
Okay.
for some
Awesome.
reasons
Okay.
and became an entrepreneur.
Awesome. Lovely. Brilliant. Your take on it? One failure that has turned into a hidden blessing.
Failure to get a job as an engineer at the early days of my career has resulted in me becoming an HR professional today.
Fabulous. So we have two engineers turned HR professionals. With that, I move on to Gauri. One failure that has turned into a hidden blessing.
Yeah, the first compensation design that I prepared, it had different things for different people. So if you are on field, you will be paid more to be on field, and for others, it had something different. That became a failure because people said that you are asking us to work more to earn more. So I realized that what we had in as kids, the thought process that दूसरे को ज़्यादा नहीं मिलना चाहिए, वो अभी भी है, वर्क प्लेस पे भी रहती है, हमेशा रहती है. And since then, I have been very careful about this thing. It's about human emotion. So that was a very good learning for me.
Thanks a lot, Gauri. And I still stick to the suggestion that I gave to Brilliant. सबको दे दो, तीनों को दे दो. ठीक है?
But
All right.
I was hoping
We'll
you would
jump
say,
on to
क्या
some.
करेंगे इतने पैसों का?
All right. We'll jump on to a couple of questions which are there in the chat window. Hiren has the first question. So as work becomes more digital, how can companies balance employee well-being and prevent burnout in hyper-connected world? Just a shorter answer by any or all three of you all. And whoever wants to go first, go ahead, please.
So I think the focus needs to be on mandatory time off. We all know we've been through COVID. So starting off early and ending up late in the night, there is no work and there is no, personal life that we had. So it's important for organizations and more important for managers to realize that it's okay to cut off for a period of time. It's okay to take leaves. It's okay to take some time out. The only thing is be accessible, be available when needed. Beyond that, I think everything else can be sorted. That's something which I would want the organizations to do, prevent burnout.
Awesome. Awesome. Any other perspectives, Gauri, Tejinder ji?
Yeah, I think rightly said by Brilliant that balance is the key here. You have to, organizations are not running for charity. So the first goal is to earn money. But at the same time, you have to look at sustainability also. So balance is the key.
Awesome.
How of it would be very long. It will take hours to respond. But
So
yes,
that is
but
another
sure.
webinar for
Yes.
Gauri to go. So Hiren, we are reserving Gauri for another webinar on the how part. All right. The next question is by Kalpana. With the rise of gig economy and automation, how will traditional employment structures evolve in the next decade? That's a nice one.
Yeah. And I would just jump in because I read yesterday or day before yesterday, Sam Altman saying that there'll be one employee company which will make billion of dollars. So structures are changing. We are not talking about huge, very large organizations, huge employments anymore. But in order to run those organizations, there is a very high reliance on specialization. So this is how the traditional employment structure is going to go. First, we have to change our mindset that yes, this is the key now, and this is how we need to develop that specialization. That if any organization needs it, first we should come to their mind. So accept it first, and then work towards developing that niche for you is what I would say.
Awesome. Awesome. So
I
basically,
think
room for all different types of employments are there, including a lot of gig workers as well. Thank you. Yes,
see
I think.
we
Yeah.
moved from a method wherein we had hierarchies to flatter structures. So what Gauri mentioned, we're moving from a flat structure now to individual centric structures or circles wherein we are basically connecting the dot structures wherein each one of us is capable of certain delivery, but together we become a larger piece of the ecosystem. So that's how structures will shape. You will not have large hierarchies operative again.
Awesome.
Or
Just,
even
just,
flat structure will be difficult.
just one thought,
Amazing.
Kalpana. You're talking about a decade, but I think it's already in play. Gone are the days of build and buy. Today, it's build or buy or borrow. If you have something else which someone else has as a competency or a skill, we are willing to borrow that skill for a period of time. Project-based employment is still on. It's very much active in many domains. I think it's only a matter of time when all of us would operate in that mode, and thankfully, we'll save a lot of taxes. I had
You
to add
missed
this.
you missed the word steel.
Still, and at times also collaborate. If there are
Yes.
organizations who are doing well, I mean, I'm sure those consortiums were great in infrastructure and real estate industries, but that is kind of moving everywhere now. So yeah, absolutely agreed.
We missed touching
Kalpana, Hiren, I
technology.
hope that answered your questions.
So
Sorry, Tejinder
we
ji.
missed touching technology on compliances and regulations and security. So possibly that's one area we missed today.
Correct. Awesome. So I
That's an
hope that
important
answers your
area.
questions. Yeah. And I think awesome. Thanks, Kalpana. So I think with that we kind of wrap it up. Great insights from all of you all. Lots of notes that I have taken, and I think right from increasing adoption to hyper personalization to ensuring that there is purpose. We all understand that business as usual for HR and for leaders is to be on a lookout, be absolutely aware of what's happening around and adapt and adopt more. Thanks a lot, Tejinder ji, Brilliant, and Kalpan and Gauri. And handing it over back to Faisal.
Thanks, Hitu.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Setu, for your skillful moderation that kept the conversation dynamic and impactful. Our sincere appreciation to Ms. Gauri, Mr. Tejinder, and Mr. Brilliant for your valuable insights on AI automation and the evolving workplace provided great takeaways for all. We appreciate your time and effort in making this session a success. Look forward to more such enriching discussions. For those eager to revisit today's insights, the session recording is available on our YouTube link shared in the chat window. A special thanks to our event partners, Geisha, NASCOM COE, Talgro, TLE, WICCI, LinkedIn Local, Ahmedabad, and India for their invaluable support in making this event a success. To learn more about these associations, please refer to the links provided in the chat. We look forward to welcoming you to our next session on the topic gig economy and its impact on traditional employment on March 20th, 2025. With that, we conclude today's webinar. Thank you for being part
You're
of this
missing out
journey.
on the group picture. You're missing out the group picture.
Yeah. Thank you all. Take care and farewell for now. Thank you, Tejinder. Thank you, Gauri. Thank you, Setu. Thank you, Brilliant.